What you know about that? What you know about that? What you know about that? Hey, don't you know I got a key by the 3 where that church out the church band. Do it now, sad. Where I holding all the work, yeah. What you know about that? What you know about that? What you know about that? Hey, I know all about that. Look at Cold on the low where the cheese at. Fresh out the jet to the chicks where the cheese at. What you know about that? What you know about that? Hey, what you know about that? Hey, I know all about that. See me in the city, sitting pretty, no I'm shining dog. Riding with a couple Latin bras and I'm China dog. Hey, you know how we ball. Right in the shiny car. Walking the town of mall. Hey, everything we saw. You know about me, dog. Don't talk about me, dog. And if you doubt me, dog, you better out me, dog. I'm throwed off slightly, bro. Don't wanna fight me, bro. I'm fast as lightning, bro. You better use your Nikes, bro. You know you don't like me, cuz your bitch most like me, cuz she see me on the judge in front of every club. I be on Joe, I'm buzz. Gave every hoe a hug. Niggas don't show me mugs. Cause you know I got a key by the 3 where that church out the church band. Do it now, sad. Where I'm holding all the work, yeah. What you know about that? What you know about that? What you know about that? Hey, I know all about that. Know the cold on the low where the cheese at. Fresh out the jet to the chicks where the cheese at. What you know about that? What you know about that? Hey, what you know about that? Hey, I know all about that. Candy on the 6-fold, leather guts and fishbowl. Victor on the pinky ring just to make my fist glow. Yeah, bitches get low because I get dough. So what, I'm rich, oh, I still pull a kick though. What you talking shit for? And gotta run and get folk. Got you were yelling, I thought you pull out a gun and hit folk. But you's a scary dude, believe by very few. Just keep it very cool, or we will bury you. See all that attitude is unnecessary, dude. But you never carry tools, he's not even sweary cute. You got these people fooled, who see you on the tube. Whatever try to do, they see you on the news. By the 3, hey, church out the church band. Do it now, sad, where I'm holding all the work. What you know about that? What you know about that? What you know about that? Hey, I know all about that. Know the cold on the low where the cheese at. Fresh out the jet to the chicks where the cheese at. What you know about that? What you know about that? I'm talking to you, homie. Fresh out the jet to the block, burn her up over the top. Pop the bus and shots and tell them stop and make the block high. Your label got cause you are not high. I got the top spot, and it will not stop. Your video and that we bustin' till the clock stops. Drag out that Bentley coupe and take it to the chop shop. I know we not, y'all. If it may pop off, I'll answer the question, will I get your block? Nah, dawg. It what it is, bro. Look out with kill, bro. I'm in your hood. If you a gangster, what you need for? Somebody better get, bro, before he gets sent for. Say you wanna squash it, what you still talking shit? I got a key by the 3 where that church out the church band. Do it now, sad, where I'm holding all the work, yeah. What you know about that? What you know about that? What you know about that? Hey, I know all about that. Know the cold on the low where the cheese at. Fresh out the jet to the chicks where the cheese at. What you know about that? What you know about that? Hey, what you know about that? Hey, I know all about that.
I'm from a long line of chiefs, I was made in the image. Grandfather married 7 wives in the village. Never sold a slave and the British couldn't kill him. And they call it black magic when they babble about the physics. Smart niggas of the white man's villain. I rock these linens for Wakanda looked appealing. The best you rappers do is do a show, pay a visit while I'm really out here living. I'm in Kenya making shillings, I'm at home. Cause the flea market feel like Brooklyn on the low. If we spread the bread, we could do it on our own. Stay up in your lane, bitch, you knocking over cones. Just to get a job, so that I assume the throne. Long live TV. Long live bad wishes in my TV. Why you wishing you could be me? Too much gifts, got the blues, I'm a genius. Whether it be for my people or be for my ego, man, I gotta make like Ocho on the way base heroes. I believe in Magic Johnson, not a magic Negro. That's why Uncle Morgan Freeman never was my hero. No, oh man, some forget where they voodoo from. Get a perfume deal and forget they doo-doo stun. Jealous old heads tell me you just young. Boy, you thought you'd be a rebel when you grown. Yeah. Please don't act like I got my diploma on the plate. I done took a bullet by the time that I was 8. Studied by my neighbor boyfriend, be there every day. On the way to school to stick a kids I would escape. Can feel the voodoo running in my blood. Can feel the voodoo running in my blood. Can I kill a man that's stealing me? I can feel it, I can feel it in me. And the spirit is the real in me. Black magic power. Can I kill a man that's stealing me? I can feel it, I can feel it in me. And the spirit is the real in me. Black magic power. Can I kill a man that's stealing me? I can feel it, I can feel it in me. And the spirit is the real in me. Black magic power.
Nobody pray for me. It been a day for me. Yeah. Hey, I remember syrup sandwiches and crime allowances. Finesse a nigga with some counterfeits, but now I'm counting this. Parmesan where my accountant lives. In fact, I'm down in this. You say with my boobay tastes like Kool-Aid for the analyst. Girl, I can buy your Westie world with my base stuff. Ooh, that pussy good. Once you sit it on my taste buds, I get way too petty once you let me do the extras. Pull up on your block and break it down. We playing Tetris. AM to the PM, PM to the AM phone. Piss out your per diem, you just gotta hate them phone. If I quit your BM, I still rock Mercedes phone. If I quit this season, I still be the greatest phone. My left stroke just went viral. Right stroke put a baby in a spiral. Soprano C, we like to keep it on the high note. It's levels to it, you and I know. Bitch, be humble. Hold up, bitch, sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Bitch, sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Bitch, sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Who that nigga thinking that he frontin' on that man? Get the fuck off my stage, I'm the Sandman. Get the fuck off my dick, that ain't right. I make a play, fucking up your whole life. I'm so fucking sick and tired of the Photoshop. Show me something natural like Afro with your pride. Show me something natural like ass with some stretch marks. Still a take you down right on your mama couch in polo socks. Hey, this shit way too crazy. Hey, you do not amaze me. Hey, I blew cool from ACA. Oh, how much is page me? Hey, I don't fabricate it. Hey, most of y'all be faking. Hey, I stay modest about it. Hey, she elaborated. Hey, this that great poop on that AV on that TED Talk. Hey, watch my soul speak, you let the meds talk. Hey, if I kill a nigga, it won't be the alcohol. Hey, I'm the realest nigga after all. Bitch, be humble. Hold up, bitch, sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Bitch, sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Bitch, sit down. Be humble. Sit down.
Nobody cares, but tomorrow they will. Nobody cares, but oh, tomorrow they will. They said my future is dark. You see me now, just look around, baby. We they used to talk when I run around. You see me now, I'm baby. I get my energy from my energy. I be in outer space, but I got inner peace. So tell my enemies that they can't injure me. I know that irritates. You have my sympathies. Well, you should protest. Yeah, you should picket me. I'm on a losing strike. I'm on a winning streak. I'm out in left field. I'm speaking mentally, but that's a better place than where the benches be. I'm feeling really good. Me and my different beat. Me and my different drummer. He played the timpani. See, that's what got me here, you hearing me. Me on my black man in the future shit. Call me Billy D. See, I'm just forward looking. That's how I really see. See why you Valentine's, I'm thinking Christmas trees. And that's how this would be. Even at Mickey D's. Semicolon, close parentheses. See me now. Just look around. When I run around, see me now, I'm beaming. Do you remember me? The guy from verse 1. Failure's my last name, never's my first one. You see, I hood a lot, and yeah, I nerd some. Hood's where the heart is, nerds where the words from. Don't represent either, because I merge them. It's kids who wanna leave, and I encourage them. Go out and see the world, never return from. Yeah, you don't come back, unless you learn some. And baby girl, what does it matter where your purse from? Your hair done, your nails did, your ass fat, but you're dumb. Mix Melissa Ford with Maya Angelou. Become a top model and Sojourner too. I try to follow this, what Muhammad do. It's such an old soul inside the Sonic U. That's why I'm Ferrari'd up and I'm conscious too. I don't prophesize, I promise you. See me now, just look around. Talk when I run around, lasers. See me now, I'm beaming. Yeah, it's me again. The guy from verse 2, well, it's the last one. It's almost curfew, it's almost not out, so turn your lights on. Wear all my 760s with your brights on. Yeah, they are the ones to keep your eyes on, like how we used to do, to keep the house warm. Now those the type of eyes I not cry from. You see the tears of fire run out my crying songs. Now the world's shoulders is what I'm crying on. The world's fast lane is what I'm driving on. What am I driving at? I'm trying to drive it home. I'm in the driver's seat, but you can ride alone. It's never Cyclops, it's never I alone. I'm telling your story wherever I perform. Now if they looking for me, you tell them I've gone. Out in the bright lights, right where I belong. You see me now, just look around. I'm beaming. They used to talk when I run around. You see me now, I'm beaming. I say, bitch bad, woman good, lady better. Hey, hey, hey. Now
imagine as a shorty, maybe 5, maybe 4, riding around with his mama listening to the radio, and a song comes on, and I'm not far from being born. Doesn't know the difference between right and wrong. Now, I ain't trying to make it too complex, but let's just say shorty has an undeveloped context about the perception of women these days. His mama sings along, and this what she says: because I'm a bad bitch, and I'm bad bitch, so far above average. And maybe other rhyming words like cabbage and savage and baby carriage and other things that match it. Couple of things are happening here. First, he's relating the word bitch with his mama, comma. And because she's relating to herself, his most important source of health and mental health, he may skew respect for dishonor. So, bitch bad, woman good, lady better, ain't misunderstood. Tell him, bitch bad, woman good, lady better, ain't misunderstood. They misunderstood. Yeah. Now, imagine a group of little girls 9 through 12 on the internet watching videos, listening to songs by themselves. Doesn't really matter if they have parental clearance, they understand the internet better than their parents. Now, being the internet, the content's probably uncensored. They're young, so they're malleable and probably unmentored. A complicated combination, maybe with no relevance into their intelligence meets their favorite singer's preference. Bad bitches, bad bitches. That's all I want and all I like in life is bad bitches, bad bitches. Now let's say that they less concerned with him and more with the video girl acquiescing to his whims. Ah, the plot thickens. High heels, long hair, fat booty, slim. Reality check, I'm not tripping. They don't see a paid actress, just what makes a bad bitch. Bitch bad, woman good, lady better, ain't misunderstood. I say, bitch bad, woman good, lady better, ain't misunderstood. Disclaimer, this Raymer, Lupe's not using bitch as a lesson, but as a psychological weapon to set in your mind and really mess with your conceptions, discretions, reflections. It's clever misdirection, cuz while I was rapping, they was growing up fast. Nobody stepped in to ever slow them up. Gasp, showing up in this little world. The little boy meets one of those little girls, and he thinks she a bad bitch, and she thinks she a bad bitch. He thinks disrespectfully, she thinks of that sexually. She got the wrong idea. He don't wanna fuck her, he thinks she bad at being a bitch, like his mother. Mama never dressed like that, come out the house hot mess like that. Ass, titties, breasts like that, all out to impress like that, just like that. You see the fruit of the confusion. He caught in a reality, she caught in an illusion. Bad mean good to her, she really nice and smart, but bad mean bad to him. Bitch don't play a part, but bitch still bad to her if you say it the wrong way. But she thinks she a bitch, what a double entendre. Tell him, bitch bad, woman good, lady better, ain't misunderstood. I say, bitch bad, woman good, lady better, ain't misunderstood. I'm killing these bitches. Bitch bad, woman good, lady better, ain't misunderstood. You're misunderstood. I'm killing these bitches. Bitch bad, woman good, lady better, greatest motherhood. Yeah. I'm killing these bitches. Today, nobody cares, but tomorrow they will. But oh, tomorrow, when I wake up.
1, 2, 3 into the 4. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door, ready to make an entrance, so back on up, cause you know we're about to rip shit up. Give me the microphone first so I can bust like a bubble. Compton and Long Beach together, now you know you in trouble. Ain't nothing but a G thing, baby. Too low down niggas, so we're crazy. Death Row is the label that pays, man. Unfadable, so please don't try to fake this. But back to the lecture at hand. Perfection is perfected, so I'ma let them understand from a young G's perspective. And before me dig on a bitch, I have to find a contraceptive. You never know, she could be earning her man and learning her man, and at the same time burning her man. Now you know I ain't with that shit, Lieutenant. Ain't no pussy good enough to get her while I'm offended. Yeah. And that's realer than real deal, Holyfield. And now you hookers and hoes know how I feel. Well, if it's good enough to get broke off a proper chunk, I take a small piece of some of that funky stuff. It's like this and like that and like this and it's like that and like this and like that and it's like this and like that and like this and Drake creep to the mic like a fan.
Well, I'm peeping and I'm creeping and I'm creeping, but I damn near got caught cause my beeper kept beeping. Now it's time for me to make my impression felt. So sit back, relax, and strap on your seatbelt. You never been on a ride like this before, with a producer who can rap and control the maestro. At the same time with the dope rhyme that I kick, you know and I know I flow some old funky shit. To add to my collection, the selection symbolizes dope. Take a toke but don't choke. If you do, you have no clue of what me and my homie Snoop Dogg came to do. It's like this and like that, like this and it's like that, like this and like that and it's like this. And who gives a fuck about those?
So just chill to the next episode. Falling back on that ass, what a halified gangster lean. Getting funky on the mic like an old batch of collard greens. It's the capital S-O-S, I'm fresh and double O-P, D-O-double-G-Y-D-O-double-G, you see. Showing much flex when it's time to wreck a mic. Pimping hoes and clocking a grip like my name was Dolomite. Yeah, and it don't quit. I think they in the mood for some motherfucking G shit. Yeah. So Dre,
what up, dog?
Gotta give them what they want.
What's that, G?
We gotta break them off something.
Hell yeah.
And it's gotta be bumping. City of Compton.
Where it takes place, so when that show attention. Mobbing like a motherfucker, but I ain't lynching. Dropping the funky shit that's making the sucker niggas mumble. When I'm on the mic, it's like a cookie, they all crumble. Try to get close, say your ass will get smacked. My motherfucking homie, Doggy Dogg, has got my back. Never let me slip, cause if I slip, then I'm slipping. But if I got my Nina, then you know I'm straight tripping. And I'ma continue to put the rap down, put the Mac down. And if your bitches talk shit, I have to put the smack down, yeah. And you don't stop. I told you I'm just like a clock when I tick and I talk. But I'm never off, always on till the break of dawn. See you when PTO in the city they call Long Beach. Putting the shit together like my nigga DOC. No one can do it better like this, that, and this, and it's like that, and like this, and like that, and it's like this. Then who gives a fuck about those?
So just chill to the next episode.
Hey.
Hey.
You sound like you're just waking up.
No, I've had a busy day. I'm not just waking up. I've been up all day working and whatnot, and then I had to run some errands just before the show. I'm sorry, like I'm just waking up.
You sound like you just rolled out of bed or something.
I wish. I do have a 9 to 5.
I'll be forgetting not everybody works remote like me, so.
I work remote, but I still have I work remote, but I still have actual work to do.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I ain't like people who work in IT and engineering and stuff and only have 2 hours of work to do per week. No, I have real work to do.
Don't be putting that juju on me.
I'm just saying.
How you been? How's your Easter?
My Easter was really, really good. I've been good. No complaints. A little bit under the weather, but aside from that, I've been pretty good.
That's all you got for me? Just pretty good?
Yeah, I mean, my Easter was fantastic, but I've been pretty good. I don't no complaints. Like, that's a good thing. No complaints. Nothing to complain about. Everything has been fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
What you expecting? Some juicy gossip?
Well, I'm trying to get like y'all channel. You know what I'm saying? Got a couple intro topics. You know what I'm saying? Talk about whatever the tea is.
Okay. I don't have no real tea. I mean, Easter was Easter. I cooked and my daughters came over, and my husband, and we enjoyed each other, had family time. I still make them gift baskets, so they enjoyed that. And that was pretty much it. I always enjoy spending time with my family, so that's always a good thing. We do it very regularly, but if I could find a reason to cook and have them come over and sit for hours while we laugh and talk, I'm all for it. So that's kind of what that was. But how was Easter for you?
That's all right.
Oh my God. You know what? That's all you got for me? That's all you got for me? Wow. It was all right.
Yeah, it's okay.
First of all, is this your son's first Easter?
No, it's actually a second.
Okay.
Yeah,
but he was a little baby.
Yeah, I mean, he's like he didn't know what was going on. He's a potato back then, so.
Yeah. Okay. I got you.
But yeah, he had his fruit. We didn't give him candy; we gave him fruit. And
oh, really?
Yeah. He don't like candy.
That's good. But they have like all natural. Like, I saw a TikTok where a woman made fruit roll-ups, and she used just fruit, no sugar added, and she pureed it, and then she like put it in the oven, and she pressed it out to make like a fruit roll-up. So there's like creative ways that you can, make little cutesy things for babies. But that's fantastic that he's not eating all that sugar. I mean, fruit has natural sugar, but he doesn't need all that processed sugar.
Yeah, on his birthday, he won't even eat a cake.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't know what that's about. That's completely the opposite of me. So.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Keep him like that for as long as you guys can.
But let's talk about what we're here for, I guess.
Here we go. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it, as you guys say. So y'all are now. I guess let me ask the question first. I mean, are you no longer officially like with the Manosphere? You no longer claim it?
So, again, like, this was something that we had been talking about. Just when I say this, I mean the lack of support that we feel that we receive from the space is something we've been talking about for a long time. But also, as of late, the conversation has come up a little bit more, and conversations about, the future of the channel and things of that nature are things that, we review annually, regularly anyway. So there was kind of a joint conversation going on, and it was not planned for that announcement to come out, but like I said, there were some things that happened behind the scenes where we were just having the conversation just casually. And so I was okay with it, I guess, when Danielle actually made the announcement about us disassociating from the Manosphere. I do think it's time. I wasn't planning on her making that announcement. We hadn't discussed making an announcement or how we would go about it, but it happened the way it happened, and I guess I'm okay with it.
Yeah, because the reason I asked you that was because it seemed kind of like spontaneous. Sister George is like kind of going over things, and then she just kept getting progressively mad, and then she was just like, you know what, fuck it.
It probably needed to happen like that because I am a person that's like hesitant. Like, I I'm my specialty field is risk analysis, and I like to think things through thoroughly, look at all sides of a thing, write it out, detail it, have a plan of execution. I'm not really for the spontaneity. And so had we talked about it, I probably would have told her to hold off, wait a minute, because I'm unsure. I might have been a little bit more hesitant if I had time to think about it. So it happened the way it probably needed to happen in order for it to happen as soon as it did.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I had a question and then it just kind of slipped my mind as you were talking. I guess for starters, what is the direction of your channel from this point forward? What do you guys plan on doing that you weren't doing already?
Well, I think, that's still kind of things that we're ironing out behind the scenes, to be completely honest. I do know that we already have a lot of exciting things that we were working on behind the scenes as it relates to our channel. So none of that will change. And I don't believe that the overall direction at this time, I'll say this, at this time, we don't have any major plans to change the direction of our channel, but that could change because we are still ironing out things behind the scene. And I'm, really truly speaking prematurely because we're still, ironing things out. Right now, like in the next few weeks, you won't see any immediate changes. I can say that. I can say that with confidence that you won't see any immediate changes in the next few weeks. With us disassociating, it's just essentially we won't be like saying we're part of the manosphere. And eventually we will probably do more in effort to separate ourselves. But for now, I know that, we won't personally associate ourselves with the manosphere and say, hey, we're manosphere. I can say that for sure.
Okay. You said some things were happening behind the scenes that had you guys kind of talking about like the state of, I guess, your status or in the manosphere and everything like that. What are you comfortable like talking about? What kind of things you guys were talking about, or?
Yeah, like it's always, and this is something that's just happened over the years. It's like it was really just different things will happen when we'll be like, dang, we don't really have a lot of support in the space. We don't have support from thought leaders in the space, from some of the foremost people that are recognized in the space. We don't have, like, there will be things that go on with our channel, with us feeling like we're isolated. And the conversation will come up where we just kind of are analyzing things like, hey, we don't really have all that much support in the space. Or, even when we're talking about the future of our channel and we're looking like, analyzing things and we're like, well, for one, we don't have a ton of support in the space from big content creators. So that's one thing. So it's just something that always comes up.
So you're talking about even in terms of channel growth, like you guys are like, one of the reasons you guys think that you're not growing is because there's not a lot of support from like thought leaders in the space. And that kind of has you guys looking at your numbers like, if we want to grow, then, we're not associating with the space may not be the best thing. Is that correct? Or
somewhat. I think that has had some impact because when you look at certain people who have been strongly supported by leaders in the space, they've come in less than half the time that we've been here, and their content is constantly posted. They are constantly being featured, they're constantly being mentioned, they're constantly being highlighted, and then you see the growth in the numbers there. Not to say, that's probably likely not necessarily the only reason, because I like to look at things in, totality. But I think that is one of the factors. I do think we received some support in the very beginning. I still say the support was kind of minimal, in my opinion.
I'm about to say, you received some support in the beginning?
So I remember BGS posted us a few times on his community tab when we very first started our channel. Maybe 2 or 3 times he posted us. And
Yeah.
Danielle highlighted, and I didn't even remember this because I will unplug from the space, that Obsidian posted us a time or two on, on his channel. And I remember Obsidian promoting our channel before we started the channel, like having us on and having us talk about the fact that we would be starting a channel soon. So those are the few times that I recall us receiving support from the space. So a handful of times. And it was literally within the first 3 months of our channel.
Do you guys kind of think about what might be the cause of you not receiving support?
I'm certain that it is part of it is that we're not 100% in alignment with the talking points of the space. I'm sure that I'm not going to pretend that I'm oblivious as to why. Yeah, I know that that's a large part of it. Yeah, I think that's a part of it. I think also we don't fit a certain aesthetic. I think we are more vocal than a lot of ladies. We are more outspoken, and yeah, we have our own thoughts and ideas, and not everyone is fond of that.
You sneak this in now, but
I'm just saying, there's a few and that's not to say that what I'm saying applies to everybody who receives support, because maybe someone receives support, but they have their own thoughts and ideas, but they fit a certain aesthetic, or they have their own thoughts and ideas, but they still are very much leaning, male identified leaning. I don't know. There's a variety of different things to be considered.
Would you say, I guess, you talk about how, I guess, people getting posted on community tabs to kind of funnel support into that channel, and it allows those channels to grow, whereas you guys don't necessarily see that with support. And I guess this is for my clarification purposes on your end. Would you say that I hate to bring this up, but I'm going to do it. So would you say that Pearl is one of the people who have received support in that area?
So yes, I do believe that Pearl has received support, but in all honesty, I think that I believe that Pearl has received support, but Pearl's primary method of success, or the primary success that Pearl has gained, has been because she comes off as being so male identified. She's literally regurgitating all of the manosphere's talking points. So I think that is the primary reason for her success, not so much that because I don't see her content being shared like that in the space. I haven't seen a ton of that, not as much as I've seen them do for, other female content creators. So I think that it's really just her regurgitating the talking points, and, her being a white woman regurgitating the talking points. It's a little bit, it's going to pack a punch and be a bit more effective.
Yeah. So I guess this kind of brings up the question for me. So what was it that made you guys was it just this recent situation, this kind of blowout from the recent situation that kind of led you guys to make this decision to change your channel? I know you said it was something that was kind of a long time coming, but yeah.
I really believe, I guess maybe this was the icing on the cake. I was kind of surprised that it happened the way that it did. I was surprised, but I understand that it needed to happen that way. So surprised, but understanding. I guess that was probably just the icing on the cake. It's not like this is something we've been like, oh, we got to get out of this space. That's not something like we've been contemplating for the 3.5 years that we've been here, but we have had multiple discussions just about the lack of support that we receive. So I guess that was likely just the icing on the cake for us. You know, I think that I'm trying to find a good analogy because the one I was going to use, I already can hear the commentary now, so I'm not going to use that. But you kind of feel like, you know, you're getting beat up on, like, and it's kind of like it's like, okay, you know, how long do you want to get beat up on for? You know, like, how long do you want to be a punching bag for? You know, like, how long do you want to endure this? And, you know, enough is enough. And I think that that's just kind of, you know, the point that we've reached. And that doesn't mean like that our stance on anything will change, that our love for the manosphere will change, that our support even for men in this space and content creators that we've established, you know, long-lasting relationships with and will always support. Like, none of that will change. Like, you will still see us around, all of that. Like that, you know, I think that, you know, you'll still see us around and still see us within the space. We will just be in the space. Well, we're already considered guests in the space according to BGS, but as opposed to being content creators, we will be just, you know, guests passing through, I guess, you know.
Yeah, Demetrius says, so basically y'all just demanding respect. Do you agree, disagree with that?
You know, I like to sugarcoat, so let me think.
You don't have to sugarcoat. Nobody watches my channel.
You'll be surprised where people pick stuff up and to create content off of. But I don't even think that we're making a demand because we've already made our decision. So I don't think that respect is something that, you know, is a requirement at this point. Like, yes, we are demanding that we're respected, but it's not like we're demanding that we're respected or else we're leaving, because we've already made the decision to disassociate.
So it's like a nothing personal kind of.
Yeah, I would say so.
It did not seem like it in that stream, I'll tell you that much.
Oh, wow. What makes you say that? Please elaborate. It sounded like there was a personal beef.
I would say it's hard to say a personal beef when you're talking about a feeling toward a group or a space, but it seems like let's say the manosphere was a person. Then you guys were kind of talking to this manosphere person, like, you know, we don't get any respect from y'all, you know, we don't the woman who shall not be named gets respect over women in this space who support y'all. Screw y'all, I'm out. That's the way it kind of seemed.
I don't know. I don't feel like, I mean, I do feel as though the respect is, you know, is not there. I feel that the respect is not there. However, I don't think that, for me, it's not like there's no love loss. For me, there's no love loss. I think that it's just time. I think that it's kind of a lot of men don't understand this, but, you know, some women outgrow relationships and some people, I'm sure, outgrow relationships. And I think that we've likely outgrown our position in the manosphere. And that's kind of how I'm looking at it.
Okay. Yeah. And I think, maybe I should have invited Sister George up here as well. But I know, you know, you had mentioned me in one of the streams and I was like, oh, we'll just talk about it. You know, it's not that big a deal to me. But I think a lot of times, because it's like the breakdown is like one entity. So like we think you're both kind of on the same page, and I can tell some of the times, like overall you're on the same page, but like, you know, there are you have different ways of getting to the same position. You know what I mean?
I agree with that. And we're not always on the same page about everything because like even the whole Pearl being Me Too and the guy, like even like when that whole thing was going on, I disagreed that he was like Me Too'd. And there's like, you know, certain topics that we'll have and we'll have completely opposing positions on certain things. And then a lot of stuff we do agree on. So, you know, and that's perfectly fine too.
Yeah. So, you know, this actually kind of, you know, answers a lot of the questions because it seemed like it seemed like you guys were leaving with kind of some you know, stomping out the door kind of thing, and I was like, hey, you know, it is what it is, you know, like you and it sounds like you kind of take that position too. It's kind of like, you know, you're at a state where you want your channel to grow. Not really sure what direction you're going to go in, but you know, you want the type of support that you would need to grow organically from this space you're not receiving, and you're moving on to play maybe pastures where that support can grow organically and move, and maybe the algorithm isn't so hateful against you. The algorithm don't treat manosphere content very well.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. And I think you essentially, I think you get it. Yeah, and that's pretty much where I'm at with it. I don't think it's, you know, this isn't a slight or a diss against the manosphere or an FU to the manosphere. And, you know, when we say that there hasn't been support, I want to be very specific and make sure that we're detailing what type of support that we're speaking of, because we have received, you know, financial support, monetary support from people who are manosphere affiliated, like our entire audience is manosphere affiliated. Absolutely. And we do have a very strong core audience of people who rock with us. And like, we're extremely appreciative of that. And we hope to maintain that core audience. Like, we're not intending to switch over and be something that you haven't seen. Personally, I think that I've been very firm on not wanting to feel compromised. And what I mean by compromise is not allowing people to put us in a box, not allowing people to just ensure that we're only producing male identified content or content where we're using, you know, the talking points of the manosphere, or that we're, you know, using sisterhood talking points, because I don't want to feel compromised. I want to be open to have objective thought, to do critical analysis of the discussions that we're having and do a critical review of it. And, you know, if someone says to me, Black women are responsible for the downfall of the community, and, you know, I may not agree with that, because I want to do a deep dive on that. And I may say, well, I can see how Black women are partially responsible, but I also think that there are other factors to consider, and some responsibility lies in other people's hands, or, you know, in other people's laps as well. The government, the Black man, like, you know what I mean? So that's what I mean when I say I'm balanced. Like, that's what I mean when I say I'm more middle of the road, that I'm not just like, I think that it's inauthentic to simply stick to what you've been conditioned to believe by this space. I think that, like, that is not a person who forms free thought. That is not a person who thinks critically. That is not a person who formulates their own thoughts and ideas. And I never want to be that person. And like I said, I've challenged some of my own ideas that I've been conditioned to believe for a very long time since coming to the space. But that's because I'm open to challenging them. People in this space are not open to challenging them, and they scoff at the fact that you are even mentioning another talking point that doesn't, you know, that didn't originate out of this space.
I see where you're coming from on one level, and I'll level with you on a lot of things. Though the one thing that I agree with that you also said was there's a lot of people who think Black women are responsible for the way that the community is, and I do not agree with that. I think there is I think with any situation, there's response, like with any situation where relationships involved, each participant in the relationship holds some level of responsibility. I think arguing the level of responsibility, I don't know, that I'll leave that up to whoever wants to do that. But to me, that's not as important. I do think there, because our community is mainly female led. Like there's a lot of single parent homes, which are mainly mothers. There's a lot of deference to the mother instead of the father. There's a lot of kind of rallying under what women think. I think there's a large part of responsibility that lies with women, but I'm not sure what that percentage is, and I don't think that there's really much point in trying to net out what it is.
Right.
Another thing is, I do think people in this space can be a little dogmatic with their point of view. So, and a lot of times dogmatic to the point where they'll say something and then say something else that contradicts it, and not recognize that they're contradicting themselves. And then on the back end of that, they'll say it's logical. That's something that really, really pisses me off.
Absolutely. I agree.
And like, say the most illogical things, and then be like, yeah, and men are logical. It's like, bro, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So yeah. Go ahead.
And I didn't even bring up like percentages and things like that. I mean, I think that, we're getting into the weeds if we talk that, but like, we may be even in agreement on that. Like, I think that a large part of the responsibility does lie on Black women. I understand that. Like, I'm not denying the role that Black women played in the demise of the Black community. I think I would be, I would have to have blinders on to say that they have no responsibility, or that their responsibility is very limited. I'm not at all insinuating that, but I just have the ability to see that it's not solely Black women that's responsible.
Yes, and I agree with you. I agree that because of the situation that we're in, it's probably mostly Black women who have a lot of the responsibility, well, the thing is, I'm not even sure. I'm not so sure how I can make that claim, because I don't know. Like, we all know that, children need both of their parents. There are a lot of people who keep the child away from the father and denigrate the father. But I'm not so deeply into recognizing the percentages of these things to make a confident like analysis on who's doing what. I just know we're all fucked up. So like, that's something I know just from like, my observations, the things that I've read, the things that I see. I can see that we're all like on the path to destruction. And my thing is mostly just, trying to make sure that we all recognize what we are responsible for, So yeah, I want to level with you there. I want to level with you that the manosphere can be crazy sometimes. I don't think anybody's gonna argue that. Were you gonna say something?
No, I agree. You said it, so I'm just simply agreeing with them being crazy. But nonetheless, I think my biggest gripe is that I feel like, although I feel like we're villainized in the space in a way, and I understand that we're not 100% on board with all of the ideas that come from this space, but I do feel like we strongly empathize with Black men, and our love for Black men is unwavering. And although we give Black men ish, and we may troll quite a bit, and like I said, I have very, very dark humor. We come with trolling topics, and we're trying to have intriguing titles to our topics. in order to get people interested and in the seats and wanting to partake in the conversations. And there's a method to our madness oftentimes. And, you know, I get that people might feel slighted by some of the actual topics of conversations that we have on our channel, but oftentimes they aren't even in alignment with our own ideas and our own thoughts. But nonetheless, I think that, you know, we are not coming in here attacking Black men. We're not coming in denigrating Black men. I feel like we've gotten a lot of flack, and even despite that, we haven't attacked Black men. I feel like we've kind of taken those bumps and bruises. We've taken the hits, and we've still kind of maintained our same position, our original position regarding our love and empathy towards Black men.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what I was talking about with I think not on your last stream with Obsidian, but the one before that, where I was saying at the end that it's like two ships moving past each other in the night. Because I think you when you see that there's any level of disagreement with, or even very strong levels of disagreement from the manosphere, you're seeing that it's that these people don't support you. You're seeing it as like if you don't 100% agree with the manosphere, then you know there's no way to get on, you know, I guess the quote good side end quote. But just from the way that I understand how things go over here, and just listening to people and how they interpret things, it's not necessarily how I see it. I don't think anybody's like necessarily like you got to be Pink Book lessons or we're not gonna, you know, rock with you. But but at the same time, because like for instance, like people from the manosphere often are on what's his name's channel, We Need to Talk with Obi. There's a lot of people from the manosphere over there, and he is often saying things that are not manosphere, like, or even saying things that are against the manosphere, like often. It's like sometimes like, and maybe it's just because of the way that you guys joke, or maybe it's just the way that you guys kind of are used to just communicating. But sometimes when you guys say things, it just comes off like I personally know you care, but like it just comes off like I don't know. It comes off like the stuff that we're used to hearing. Like,
I get that. Yeah, very familiar. It's interesting that you say that, because when you were speaking, I was thinking like, I wanted to ask you if you grew up with Black sisters, Black cousins, and, you know, and I was going to tie our sense of humor, our the way in which we communicate to akin to, you know, growing up with, you know, Black women in your family. And you kind of made that connection for me, but you made it and you highlighted that that's not necessarily a positive thing. And I never recognized that. I never recognized that it's familiar, but not in a positive way. Like what we do, our trolling, you know, our banter, the way we communicate, the things that we're saying, is like it could even be triggering for some, because it's reminiscent of some of the very complaints that men have in this space. Wow, I never ever, real talk, never once thought about that. Never considered it. Like it never dawned on me.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Like I know after talking to Sister George one-on-one after the Pearl thing, the first time, I came back to you guys' channel. I was like, oh, I understand what's going on now. I said that because, you know, yeah, I did. I grew up I grew up with all brothers, and I was the oldest. But
Okay.
but we went over grandma's house all the time. Had cousins at the cookout. You know, all our cousins at the cookout. You know, dancing, doing whatever. We had our banter and our back and forth like that too. And you're right. It's like a lot of the things that you guys say come off in that same realm as some of the stuff that we're used to hearing when we kind of hear these things, especially like when when Sister George was like talking about the Passport Bros like way back, and she was like you know, she was joking, but she said you know, you guys ain't got no game, you're lame, all that kind of stuff. It's like it triggered me. You know what I mean? And I knew you were joking.
Right. You know, and I understand that. And like I said, it never dawned on me because you know, like I think that it's kind of like we've been conditioned to, like, first of all, as Black people, you know, we find humor in anything, no matter how serious. It could be like something life-threatening, and we're going to find a way to make it humorous. But for me, like it is like that's the way I connect with people I love. That's the way I connect with people I care about. I come from a huge family. My mother had 10 kids, and my mother was also one of 7. I have a lot of cousins. My grandmother was one of 9. I have a humongous family, like big family. I can't even tell you how many cousins I have because I have so many. And like for my family, like growing up with my cousins, my family, the people that I love, that's how I show love. That's how we showed love, is jonesing on each other, you know, banter back and forth. Like, you know, they call me egghead. I call them, you know, big ear. Like that is how we like, and it's like never to necessarily, like the intent is not to hurt you, not to harm you, not to cause, you know, any kind of residual effect to you. And I kind of carried that with me, and I've become so comfortable in the space that I come and I'm talking with these people multiple times a week that I feel very comfortable, and I've let my guard down. And that is how I express my comfortability by, you know, by being familiar with you all like I would with my own friends and family. But I never considered that might not be how that might affect, you know, you all, you know, people who listen. I never thought about that.
Yeah, I'm sure, because I see your posts from TikTok and things like that on your channel that you've been posting up. Going through TikTok and looking at a big thing with Black consciousness right now is to look back on your parenting, and then or look back on the way you were parented, and then talk about your traumas and stuff like that. Have you seen a lot of those kind of posts?
Oh yeah. Oh, like all the time. Yes, every day.
Yeah, and you could say in a way that the manosphere is a little bit ahead of the curve on some of that. Now they don't use all the psychological terminology that you know, I guess a lot of people in the mainstream use. But one of the things that you know, I guess you could say what made this space happen was awareness of these things that men were uncomfortable with. And there's certain language and certain actions and things like that kind of trigger. It's like, hey, I've seen that before. I know where this is going, kind of thing. And it kind of comes off a little bit, maybe accidentally in your channel. So
thank you, because like I said, that's just a realization that I hadn't come to prior to you saying that. And that's what I mean by being open to hearing other perspectives, excuse me, and how I've been able to, grow and benefit from the space by having that. That's why I try to get other women. And that was really and truly my desire when I initially got with Danny and I'm like, let's start a channel, is because I wanted other women to see that, there's a person behind all of this, foul language, behind all of this anger that's being expressed, behind, all of these, sexual innuendos that are being thrown out. Like, there is a real person, who is trying to communicate what he's experienced, trying to communicate his feelings, trying to communicate his thoughts, his ideas. And if we can get past, if we can kind of, let those walls down, let those guards down just a bit, you never know how your perspective on one thing or another can be changed, because that's something that is, that's something small to you, but it's something that is just kind of very profound for me, because it's, like I said, the way that I communicate with people that I care about and that I feel comfortable with. And I'm a very guarded person. Like, real talk, I'm uptight and I'm guarded. Like, those are two things that I will own about myself. And I don't get comfortable with everybody. Like, I don't rock with everybody. You don't see me in too many spaces, even in the manosphere, because I don't rock with everybody. Like, I'm not for everybody. I'm actually repulsed by certain energies. And so I'm very picky. And for me to do that, even with my own audience, be able to let my hair down, and my way in showing that I'm comfortable is like playing with y'all. Like, man, you crazy, or, the back and forth. Like, that is the way that I express I'm comfortable. These are my peeps. This is my family. And for that not to necessarily be received in a positive way is just eye-opening to me.
Yeah. And well, first, do you want to answer the question that SKC posed?
Not really.
Not really.
It's been about that.
Sorry, SKC. We're going to be moving on from there. But yeah. And I think the big thing to recognize about how men typically display that they care is may sound a little bit counterintuitive, because being in your chat and being like, hey, you're not, hey, you just doing blah blah blah. It's like they're doing the same thing back to you. You see what I'm saying? Like, if they really wasn't about your channel, they would not be there. But
right. Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. But I don't take the banter is not something that I'm ever offended by. Like, the back of it, like what Kid Clouds does in the B gets on there and do, like, that's like, they family, baby. They will, Jones all day, got something negative to say, be, cutting up and have something crazy to say. No, I didn't see it, Truth. But I don't take that. I'm not offended by that. It's literally just the sheer lack of support. And aside from that, Black Wizard, I don't know if you don't be in these spaces. Literally, a lot of people be calling for us to be boycotted. We minding our business. We're bringing people in from outside the space. We're not like targeting anybody in the space. People be like, why y'all over there listening to them two fat bitchs? Y'all need to stop supporting. I'm calling on men not to go over there. Like, literally have all kinds of negative things to say about us when we're minding our business.
Yeah. So I don't agree with obviously I don't agree with people like slandering you like that. But sometimes y'all say some stuff where it's like, where is this coming from? Like, it's like hard to reconcile what you're saying, especially in the topics. Like, it's not just the title of the topic. It's like the title of the topic's obviously pretty clickbaity. You get into the topics, and then I guess the perspective that you're coming from is, again, kind of like the perspective that we're familiar with hearing, or it has some kind of air the perspective that we're familiar with hearing. And when we hear these kind of things, it's kind of like I think I can help you understand. You know how just recently when with Pearl and everything, where guys are over there listening to her, talk about whatever, whatever with the racist guy, Nick Fuentes. And she's kind of like, she's kind of like laughing and making jokes with him as he's doing things and like kind of feeding off of what he's doing. And when I came onto your channel, I said, I don't know if she's racist.
Right.
But she's doing things that I'm familiar with hearing. Like
no, you didn't.
Yeah, she's like, I came from Kentucky.
Okay, I see where you're going. I
grew up in Kentucky. I'm familiar with that kind of rhetoric. And the people that I'm familiar with who have spoken in that way have ultimately been racist. So I'm
right.
And so I'm like, when we were talking about it between you and I was like, I personally will not be, over there anymore because of that. And that's kind of what guys hear from your channel. Like it's like, you'll have, I feel like these are the
Princella. Go ahead and say it.
Yeah, you'll have like Princella up there. She'll be making her jokes and talking about how big truck ain't shit, and you'll be up there laughing, and you won't stop her from saying it. You won't give her any pushback. You'll laugh with her, and like I said, maybe it is because you're uncomfortable, or whatever. But the thing is, like, when people see that kind of stuff, they're like, I don't know what side I don't know what side they're on. So
yeah. So I will say this. When we have guests on, I do, and I have to acknowledge this because I like to show them respect. And oftentimes it's because most times they're not receiving anything from coming on our platform. Literally, I feel like the least you can give a guest that you have on your platform that's, spending their time with you, they're using their intellectual property to entertain your audience, and you're profiting from it, is respect. And excuse me, the platform or the floor to share their ideas. The initial time that we had Princella on, I ain't even gonna lie, I wasn't ready. I didn't know what to expect. I had a long list of questions. I probably asked 2 of them because she took over. And my husband even was like, oh, hell to the no. And like, I value his opinion above anybody's. But he was like, no, y'all didn't challenge her on anything. I could see how your audience did believe that you guys were in agreement. If you just gonna let her say these outlandish things without anything to say. And I was like, oh, wow, I didn't look at it like that. But I was like a bit stuck. And also, I am a person that I don't like to stick my foot in my mouth. What you'll notice, like if we have someone on our channel and they're more informed on a subject than I am, if I can't quickly Google it, I'm not going to push back on something that I don't know anything of. Like, even my husband was listening to Princella when we had her on the second time, and he was like, yeah, you should have told her this, and that. Now, had he been in the house with me, he was out in the garage doing some stuff, I would have been able to push back because he is very good at history. He knew about matriarchal society. He knew about a lot of the stuff that she was claiming. And he was like, nah, she was wrong on this and that. But if I don't know about it, like I could have said, he was telling me like, this is what you should have said if you didn't know about it. But anyways, so I get how people can conclude that. But in the same vein, before there was ever a Princella on our show, we had a big truck on our show. We had a Obsidian on our show. We had a number of other obnoxious people on our show. Game Changer on our show, calling Miss J out of her name, calling Sexy Red out of her name, calling Faith out of her name. We had Fantastic on our show, disrespecting Faith, and nothing was said. If we laughed, if we giggled when they said something, if we didn't check them, it wasn't, oh, you must share his thought process and his ideologies. But when we have a woman on the show and we don't immediately check her or play attack dog for the manosphere, then we must share her ideologies. But when we've had a slew of men on the show that preceded that woman that did the exact same thing to Black women, which we belong to that very group, and they went unchecked, nothing was said about it. You see the hypocrisy in that?
Well, I kind of get where you're coming from. The one thing that I will say though is, like, let's say Roger Report, or because I remember back in the days when Roger Report used to be up on the panels, when y'all had panels every day, and he would say, you know, Black women are not good people. I don't agree with that, but when he would say things like that, yes, you would allow him to complete his sentence. Yes, you would allow him to go through and say that crazy stuff. But at the end of it, you would come back and you would be like, now that's the most ridiculous shit I've ever heard. You know?
Absolutely.
And with Big Truck and Game Changer, it was the same way, you know. Well, it got to the point with Game Changer and Big Truck when that, you know, you kind of, you know who to look for to say the crazy stuff. So you might have laughed, you know, but at the same time you'd be like, you know, you're wrong for that, or you're out the door. But
I agree.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I yes, you're right. I would challenge, like, I mean, if you're making just a blanketed statement, if you notice the second time around, I challenged Princella in areas that I was confident. If I'm not competent in like what I can say to respond to you, I'll freeze. So I have to know what I'm talking about. Like, I have to know something about a subject. So even when she was making those assertions that Black boys are born dumb and all that, like, I was pushing back on that, asking her where that information came from, asking her for resources, because some of the stuff that she was saying was like blowing me. And I'm like, no, I don't believe that about Black men. So I did push back on her in the areas that I felt confident on our second time having her on the show. We even got into a back and forth about something for a minute because I'm like, nah, I don't, agree with that. But like she throws so much stuff out. It's kind of like a used car salesman thing, that is kind of like, she throws a lot of stuff out and it's like, like, okay, I want to challenge you on something, but you've thrown 3 different things out and, kind of like, I got to get in where I fit in to be able to challenge. But, in the areas in which I felt confident to confidently challenge her and be able to speak to my talking points about, whatever I could challenge her on, I did. She was throwing out stuff about history that I just did not know enough information about. We have a million history books around here. And I told my husband, I'm like, I got to start putting some of these books to use because I felt ill prepared to challenge her in certain areas that I wanted to question her on. So that is just why I didn't do that with her in certain things, because I'm like, I don't know, is she telling the truth? And she talks so fast and jumps to the next subject. I'm like, I'm not going to have enough time to Google this to ask a question and find out if she really knows what she's talking about.
No, and I understand what you mean, because I remember when I used to make like my, I used to make really super deep super chats on purpose. And then I remember when I used to do that.
Okay.
I remember when I used to do that. And then you guys would read it and then it would just be silence on the line for like a couple minutes. And then you just go to the next one. And then I eventually asked you, I was like, how come y'all never have anything to say with mine?
Sometimes like I would get what you were saying though. And it's interesting, like even when you just like the earlier comment that you said, to be completely honest, I consider you to be balanced. And oftentimes, like when you said we'll have these topics and not only the topics or the title is clickbaity, but our ideas are so far left. Like more often than not, you're like in alignment with how I feel. Like even when we had Danica on, you were literally agreeing with what I was saying about the cheating, but then you were still like, but no, Danica, she's right. And I'm like, wait a minute, just a comment ago, you 100% agreed with what I was saying. So oftentimes you're in agreement with what, like a lot of things that I say. And that's why I don't know why you're like, I'm kind of taken aback a little bit, like, well, how you're saying we have these extreme thoughts that we're expressing when I literally will kind of use you or one of the people like you and a few other people, mainly you, as a gauge, because I feel like you're very balanced, pretty fair, or not Obsidian. BGS, I feel like it's pretty fair, but he's a little bit more leaning male identified. You're more balanced than even BGS. So I'll use you kind of as a gauge, and I'm like, that's why I'll highlight your comments a lot, because I be wanting to know where are you? Where's the missing link here? What's not connecting? Because I use you as a gauge, because I feel like you are one of the fair, balanced people that doesn't just seem so corrupted by, his traumatic experiences that he can't formulate a sensible thought. I'm just saying.
I don't know how to take that, but so I'm not sure what you're talking about with the Danica thing exactly.
When I was talking about that, a man cheating on his wife is, showing that he lacks discipline, and Danielle was saying, cheat back and all these other things.
Yeah, that's out the window. Like, back, that's some crazy stuff. Like,
but Danica said something about somebody did a super chat and they said, but isn't she? Oh, that's what you were agreeing with her. Isn't she also cheating by cheating? She's cheating on her vows by not having sex with him or something like that. And you agreed with that. So, and I get that.
I kind of, but it's like I see what you mean, but yeah, I see what you mean. Sometimes I'm just messing with you.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm messing with you.
Right.
But there are times where it's like it's hard for me to put my finger on a particular episode other than the ones that people always point to, like the Princellas or the they're like, I know there was this one time you had like the sex worker up there. And she was talking about like, man, I don't know. I should have done my research before I came up here.
No, I know we've had so many shows. So.
But yeah, there oftentimes you'll have a title. It'll say it'll have some wacky stuff, and I'll be like, all right, they're just being wacky. Then I'll sit in the thing and I'll listen to you, and I'll be like, wow, like maybe the title wasn't that wacky after all. Maybe they actually do believe that. And maybe I'll have to send you some emails, or we can talk again and figure that out. But yeah,
now every once in a while we will kind of have like, it's almost like a script where we'll like play good person, bad person for a topic, and that's not necessarily how we feel, but we're going to take sides in order to formulate an opposing argument on a topic. So it's not necessarily but we're just trying to play up, how a Black woman in this instance would feel, or how a Black man in this, and that's not necessarily our thoughts, but we're essentially doing a script, if you will. So
I got you.
There are those times too.
All right. I feel like we got. I mean, yeah, I feel like we got most of what I was, thinking about off the floor. Is there, you have anything you want to ask me, anything that you're not clear on when I'm over there doing my thing, or you want to ask me about?
I'm sorry, excuse me. So I'm looking at the questions that you sent, and you also were talking about, you were talking about, okay, what is it that you think about our beliefs?
I think you guys are. I trolling. Yeah.
Sisterhood.
I think no, not necessarily sisterhood. I think that you are. I think that you care about men. I think that you are open to. Do I want to put that on both of you? Put it on one of you.
We're not a monolith.
Yes, I'm aware. That I think that you in particular, both of you have the trait, but you are a little more open to hearing and actually like processing what is being what is being said. Whereas Sister George kind of, and this is my impression of Sister George, she kind of has a idea of what the space is like and who the people and she has a kind of an idea of what to expect from the space. So when she hears certain things, she's just like, I ain't listening to that. Like she's kind of tunes out and kind of throws the baby out with the bathwater kind of thing.
As long as it ain't about no white people stuff, I'm open to hearing. Pretty much. I'm pretty open to hearing it outside of that.
But then also, I also think that you guys have I think what you've said about BGS is what I think about you on the opposite end. So
that we're more sisterhood leaning.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
You have more of a woman deference than and I'll tell you why I say that. I say that because when and this might be because of your business associations or whatever, and you might actually know these people. This might be because you actually know these people offline. But I'll notice when you have like what I want to call normies, when you have normies on your panel. And you seem to kind of run a like I don't want to call it running interference, even though it's kind of that, but you kind of like keep them at an arm's length to protect them from the space, which I understand to a degree, because some of the stuff people be saying are like way out left field, like way out left field, but at the same time, like, okay, so they'll be up there and you'll be talking to them, and just the way that you're talking to them, and like the way that you're and then maybe it's partly because you are these people personally, you want to protect them from the crazy internet, that you're also kind of like maybe they'll be ribbing the space a little bit, and then you'll kind of like you'll rib the space along with them while we're there watching you. And then there's other situations where it's like I don't know, like your stances on some things tend to lean more toward how do I say this? I guess when I try to look at situations, I try to look at it from a stance of we're all human beings, and we're looking for the least path of resistance to something that'll make us satisfied. And when I don't see that from a lot of you guys' content. I see more like especially if it's like a manosphere kind of I guess what idea or talking point, you guys would be like, y'all are tripping. And if I have to agree with you, then it's begrudgingly,
Well, the path of least resistance, if you believe that, would be sisterhood for us, because that's what we would be conditioned to subscribe to. So technically that would be the path of least resistance, to be honest. Yes. But in all honesty, most of the people that we have on, we have business relationships with. We don't know them outside. It's very few people that I've had on that I know outside, maybe 3 people that I've had on that I know outside of the space. Like if I know them outside of the space, it's like, oh, like, like Angie, I met her in Clubhouse, but I mean like know them personally, 3 people. So most times it's a business relationship that we're trying to preserve and protect because we want to be able to work with them again in the future. And most of the people that we invite on that have no idea about the space, we are a little bit protective because of the fact that we want to preserve our business relationship with them. It's just like when foreign dignitaries come to the U.S. Do you see how they're afforded the specific special type of security, and this red carpet is rolled out for them because you want to preserve the business relationship with these foreign dignitaries? It's one and the same. But really and truly, we're not like that just with people that we know from outside. We're like that with people that we see as vulnerable in the space. We were like that with the young boy who was in the space since he was 12. We're like that with anybody that we view as vulnerable. So it's certainly not just people that we have these business relationships with. And the funny thing about that is people will consider that to be sisterhood, but that's really a feminine trait. To be nurturing, to want to protect, like that is a very feminine trait. That's a mama bear thing, but that is feminine. That is the essence of what men say they want women to be in this space, to protect something or someone from, being hurt, harm, from being, berated or being hurled insults at. Like that is a very feminine thing. That's my core. I have a very feminine core, and that's just who I am by nature. If I see somebody as vulnerable, I'm going to be like, oh no, don't do that. That's who I am. I don't think that'll ever change.
No, that and I agree, because like MGTOW Universe and Demetrius is saying, there are guys in the chat that be like waiting like wild dogs or wolves for somebody to say something or do something so they can kind of get at them. Yeah. I think that's the case, and I think to some degree, especially in a business partnership, protection from and especially on the internet, because the internet is not a fun, not a playground, especially on the end of the internet we're in. So, and
if they say the wrong thing, Danny had a psychologist who came on when she got into that beef with Woman's Fear, and they found out where that lady was licensed and started calling her job and stuff. Like, what type of
wow.
Like, it's wild out here. It's wild. It's the Wild Wild West.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. And I understand you're wanting to preserve those business relationships and things like that. It's not necessarily that you're protecting them, because there's nothing wrong with that. Like if this chat was filled with people who were, if this chat was filled with people and they were like, fuck Concrete Rose and all that stuff, I would run interference for you, because right. I don't want people to attack you. Like you're on my platform. I don't agree with that. Now, if they have some kind of respectful thing to say, I'll allow that. But so I'm just saying that to say I agree with you on that point. It's just that, let's say my chat was filled to the tune of like, I don't know, 50 people right now, and mm-hmm. a lot of them were like, fuck her, she don't know what she's talking about. I would address the chat and be like, hey, y'all need to calm down. If you want to say something respectful, please let me know so I can address that question to her. But when, I don't know, it's like when you guys are talking to, it's like, I don't want to tell you how to police your channel. Like, you know what I mean? It's your channel, you do what you want. But it just seems like, I don't know. It just seems like when you're put in a position to, when you're in a position to be either like to like get to your point where you're like, yes, there are people behind those behind those raging venomous words sometimes, mm-hmm. and you could open the floor to letting some to being like, hey, I'm not gonna let you like just pop off like you like some kind of psycho, but you
Right.
but you know, if you want to say your piece, then say it in a way that you know can be understood, and then you know go about your way. It just seems like when you guys have the opportunity to open the floor for that kind of I guess empathy, it seems like you guys defer to the jokes. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but okay, so in that regard, I think that there's a couple things. So number one, I think that like the initial experience or two, that's typically how we respond in a protective nature. Once somebody is familiar and they're used to it, we don't do that with Paco. We don't like, we're not like you know, it's fair game. He says something like, and we didn't even do that with Princella because she came, you know, out the gate shooting. Like, we ain't like, why would we be protecting her? In addition, we do let people make comments. We don't ever we don't stifle people's comments. If someone makes a comment like that is, you know, they're expressing their opinion, but that's not necessarily, you know, sugarcoating, or they're not, it's something that could be even deemed offensive, we gonna read it. And so we're not like, oh, you can't say anything negative to anybody we have up here. We don't do that now. We like literally, we really just like don't want them to be called out their name. That's the most important thing for us. Like, you know, calling them B's and H's and stuff like that. That is like the one thing, that's kind of like our rule between us, me and Danny, where we like, okay, you know, they can't be disrespecting it. Like, we don't block. People have said insulting things about us. We don't even police people when they talk bad about us. So we don't care about people having a differing opinion. It's simply just like, don't be, you know, calling them out their name, disrespecting them in that nature. But we read whatever. But in the same vein, when you say that we're kind of different with them, we're treating them different. For me, I'm trying to be professional with them. But again, it's because I'm familiar with y'all. Y'all are my peeps. They're a guest. We got company over. Like, I'm not going to kick my feet up on the table because we got company over. This is company. And yeah, I might act a little different. You may hear me enunciating my words a little bit clearer, or, you know, I might not be telling a crash joke like I otherwise would because it's company over. I ain't familiar with them. They ain't my people. Y'all are. So that's how I look at it.
You want to say hi to UFO Kamikaze?
Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, UFO Kamikaze, how's it going, brother?
No, I get it. It's like the I guess the other side of that, especially with the passport bro thing, the way that you guys the kind of critiques that you guys had for passport bros were similar to the kind of critiques that we're used to hearing from, you know, the men ain't shit sphere. So
yeah.
the men ain't shit sphere would be like, you know, you guys suck. You guys suck over here. You're not. You're going to, you know. I don't think you guys brought up the predator.
Yeah, most of our comments be about just saying dirty foots and rice and stuff like that. Like, yeah, we don't really harp on like the men that are going over there, but I do understand your point. I mean, we have a time or two said, you know, that's not even something that maybe we did one show where we said something like that. But I do understand, and that makes sense. Like those critiques, and I know, you know, it was likely because it was entertaining, but something to consider is that that's reminiscent of things that they heard growing up, and that's not gonna give somebody a positive feeling, and don't nobody want to hear that. And really and truly, like, I ain't even gonna front. If black men are like, it's just because y'all hating, I gotta eat that, because why else? Because I like, in all honesty, it's for content, but good night, MGTOW. It's for content, but I certainly can't deny that that's hating. You know what I mean? Like, these men living their life, getting their passports, going, enjoying themselves, you know, finding women that they to share their lives with. And if you have something negative to say about that, you got to be hating on it. So,
Yeah. And I don't want to harp on it on you guys because I'm seeing, you know, more and more that it's just a misunderstanding, which is what I suspected. But you know, yeah, it's just I guess it's just that triggering shit. Y'all be doing that shit on purpose too. That's why everybody be calling y'all trolls. So y'all be doing that.
It's content. It's like, it's content. But you know, the thing is, then people will be like, well, how do you differ from Obsidian then? So, jeez.
Oh, that's true. I mean,
okay.
I guess you could say that. What would you say to that if that was a question posed to you?
How do I differ from Obsidian? I would say because I care about Black men. Like, I don't intentionally want to hurt Black men. If it's brought to my attention, like what you're saying and doing, and really, this is the first like real true conversation that I've been able to have with a Black man in this space who knows this space, who understands this space very well, and that has kind of a very eye-opening conversation that is allowing me to see things from a different perspective. I will reconsider how I'm doing things, and in an effort to be a bit more sensitive to how my actions are impacting Black men. That's the difference.
It's okay. Like, I think it's okay one way or another, as long as you're aware. My thing is always, as long as you're aware of what you're doing and you're making the choice on purpose. I don't care what you do, because if you're aware of what you're doing and you make the choice on purpose, I can choose whether I want to be around you or not. But if you're like hiding some shit in the background and you're acting like something that you're not, you know, it's hard for me to get a read on you, and I don't like that kind of stuff.
And I understand that, like you saying it's okay one way or another, but I don't want to intentionally hurt Black men. Like, my intent is important to me. So if I'm having a conversation, like if I say that wasn't my intent, and now I've had a conversation with even just one Black man who highlights, you know, that, hey, do you recognize that this is how your actions could be making Black men feel? And I ignore that, then I don't have a defense. And I care about Black men. Like, I don't want to intentionally hurt Black men or do things that are going to impact them in a negative way for a buck. I'm principled. There are things that I will not do there's a long laundry list of stuff that I won't do for money.
Roger that. MGTOW Universe wants to know if we talked about the B1 stuff yet.
Why y'all want to talk about B1 stuff? This is not about that.
I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
You got something to say about B1 stuff?
Not really. Like, you know, I'm Black first. I'm Black always. I mean, the question that SKC had, like, how does being anti-Black help anybody? Like, what practical applications does being anti-Black, what practical benefits does being anti-Black, you know, give? I don't really know what to say to that. Like, I think that there are practical benefits that when Black people, one of the practical benefits is Black people being unified. If Black people are unified, there are, policies that they can enact to get change. When Black people are unified, there are, they can aid each other in leveling up. They can aid each other in, you know, elevating and improving upon the people that they are. When Black people are unified, they can improve upon the conditions of the Black community. Black people were unified at one point in time throughout the 70s, and look at how different that time and that era was versus today. Look at the time when Black people were unified due to pro-Blacks, due to the leadership of civil rights leaders and pro-Blacks, and look at the difference in how our people behaved and how our communities looked then and how they look now. And you tell me if there are any practical benefits and if they yield any results. Come on now, that's common sense. Like, that got to be a rhetorical question.
Well, SKC, if you're there, that's it. That's your answer. I don't know.
I
don't
got
know if
something
it
else for
satisfies
you.
For me?
Yeah,
Wait.
you said something about what do you believe? Oh, what do we believe about our place in the manosphere? I guess I kind of answered that.
Yeah, you answered.
I answered that, right?
Yeah, you answered that one.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much it then. I guess I answered everything else.
Do y'all low-key want to repair the community?
Oh, I don't think Danny cares. Danny is a pessimist. So she's kind of like they're beyond repair. And I'm an optimist, but my optimism is waning. The more and more debauched behavior that I see Black people engaging in, the more I lose hope, and I'm kind of sickened by it. I really just want to buy a plot of land, and if the market wasn't so bad, we would be doing that like in June, like buy a plot of land and live far away from civilization and have our farm and have to communicate with as few people as possible, because I'm just I feel like I'm losing hope, and it's kind of a very daunting feeling, and it's very sad for me, and I just don't even want to be bothered with even my own people.
That's a lot. Well, let me speak on that for real quick. I was gonna go over Demetrius's comment, but that was a lot, and I know. So I guess where I'm at with this, just so you know, not that you're asking, but
no, I'm interested.
I love Black people, so I want to see, because my focus is always trying to find a way for, I guess, us as human beings not only being recognized as human beings, but recognizing each other as human beings, and loving each other the best way that we can. My beef right now is that the Black community as it exists does not allow for that. The Black community as it exists today does not teach how to appreciate each other to the best degree, and then build lasting, fruitful relationships with each other. It does not do that. And I think that that's like the center of life building, kind of. Like in order for you to build a healthy life, you need healthy relationships. And I don't think the Black community, with the archetypes that are within it, and the I guess the de facto rites of passage that exists, I don't think that it prepares a child to be a fully equipped, functioning, happily functioning adult. I think it prepares us for a lot of stress and a lot of trauma. And I think the community as it exists today needs to change. And I think whatever you want to call it, universe, nature, whatever, believes the same thing. And the evidence of that is how the manosphere exists, the Black manosphere exists. SYSBM is kind of taking off. Divestors are taking off. You got all these, like, people downplay divestors like they're not that big a deal. But if you listen to a lot of mainstream Black women kind of talk about stuff, they kind of sound like divestor light. They sound like diet divestor. So I think all this exists because our natural state is to be happy with each other and build and have archetypes and structures. And I guess you would even go the BGS route and say programming that prepares us to build happy relationships. And if our community can't do that, then it's going to go away. And I'm comfortable if it goes away, But I would rather see Black people come together, hash out a plan where both parties get a mutual benefit from the arrangement, and then build a community from that. But if that doesn't happen, then I'm happy to see that it goes. Like, I'm happy to see that it goes, because as it exists today, I don't think that it prepares people properly to love each other, which is the most important thing to me. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
That resonates with me. My husband, I would call him pessimistic, is very much like he's a revolutionary. He's fought in all kinds of movements and stuff, and he's very extremely pro-Black, and he is kind of like give it up. And I was kind of like where you are, and it's like just I feel like we're so far gone, though. I don't even know where we would start. I feel like we are acting immoral. We act like we're a moralist group of people, and any talk of like and then there's shaming when somebody is principled, when somebody does have a firm moral base, like you're shamed for it. I just don't see things turning around in my lifetime, and it's sad to me.
Yeah, I don't really see it either. My, I guess, spiritual position is that like anything is possible. So the door is always open, but at the rate things are going, as I've said many times on your channel, at the rate things are going, there won't be one. There won't be a Black community, or at least the Black community as we know it is going to get a lot lighter. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of where we're at. There's cool stuff that I like, with our culture. I like that we're creative. I like that we're really open. I like that we're pretty egalitarian, or at least we have been up until like maybe 2017ish. I like all this stuff, but I don't but the main part of a community is to build loving relationships, and our community does not do that. It does not do that. In fact, it does the opposite. So
you ain't lying.
So yeah, it's sad, but it is what it is, I guess. I mean, I want to end it on a sad note.
No, this was good. I'm glad we got to talk about it a little bit, since people were wondering about pro-Blackness and for whatever reason. So we got to talk about it a little bit, but this was, very good. And hopefully I was able to answer some questions. There will be more to come, because I know there are some things unanswered regarding the direction of our channel and things of that nature. But we do have, like I said, plans in the work, and we already have quite a bit going on behind the scenes. So there's definitely going to be more to come, and we're not going anywhere. We're going to still continue producing content.
All right, I'll be floating around in the clouds or whatever. Hopefully you don't have another Princella moment, because I don't know if I can handle that. But
we don't have anything scheduled, so we shouldn't anytime soon.
I mean, you can make our co-host, and then
that's true.
Y'all would get a lot of views.
Oh my gosh!
But yeah, yeah, Demetrius. I didn't know you were Gen Z. Demetrius says, recognizing that this whole dynamic has been happening between Black men and Black women since he was young, it makes him look at the older generation funny. You'd be surprised how long it's been going on, but
it's pretty sad.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on.
You're welcome. Thank you. I'll see you around. Hopefully I'll see you Wednesday. We got some stuff coming on this week, so stay tuned.
All right.
Thank you, Black Wizard.
Yep, no problem.
Peace.
See you. All right, for those who are just tuning in, I'll give you a TLDR. The TLDR is, Concrete Rose is just, or Concrete Rose's sister George, just kind of have been in the background, kind of talking about leaving the space for a while. That it's not anything that they were like, muhaha, kind of planning or anything, but they want to see their channel grow, and they noticed a lot of the, I guess, thought leaders in the space weren't really like posting their channel. They do recognize that they get, support from the BGSs and Obsidian and things like that, but at the same time, they're wanting their channel to grow. They're seeing people come in much later than them, get the support from the thought leaders in the space, and help them grow, and that helps them grow while they have lower numbers. They're wanting to move their channel in a different direction, which they haven't figured out yet. The way that it came out on the show, where they were just like drawing a line in the sand, wasn't something that they had originally planned to make public at that moment, but it just kind of happened in the spur of the moment. And since it was something that was kind of a long time coming, they just kind of rolled with it. So they're under a kind of a no hard feelings kind of thing, and they feel like they're cool with the space. They're going to continue to do the content that they always been doing, but this is just a this is just kind of a bye for now. They feel like they're growing in a different direction. So so if you want to be over there, tune in, whatever, it's on, and it doesn't look like they planned on changing anything, but they're things are still kind of up in the air, up for debate. So listen to the playback, hear Concrete Rose's view on that, and that's it. I just wanted to get an understanding of where she was coming from. So I will see you guys later. Trying to make a video. I'm not very consistent, but I didn't see your comment there, Andrew. My bad. So I'm gonna try to get this video out. It's about the Winter Soldier thing. So we'll see how that goes. I'll see you guys later.